At this time, we're going to have the playing of the national anthem of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago by Rise Maximum Radio. Please remain standing for the prayer which will be done by Prison Officer 2, Mr. Wendell Bompart.
Father in heaven, it is with grateful hearts that we come before you this morning with thanksgiving. We thank you for life, for strength. We thank you, O God, for the breath of life that we can awake this morning to see another day, in which this day, O God, we know that morning by morning we see new mercies from you. As we stand here today, we pray for those who are in attendance, O God. We pray for our clients as they are preparing themselves, O God, to debate, O God, in love, in a spirit of professionalism, O God. We pray for them this morning that as their lives continue to change, O God, that you will get the glory. We pray, O God, for our visitors, all who are here. We pray for our officers, both the 1st and 2nd Division, O God. Father, we thank you, O God, for your blessings upon us as we continue with this morning's proceedings. We declare that we love you and you are sovereign. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Jared Wilson. Deputy Commissioner of Prisons, Programs and Industry, Mr. Shamsuddin Mohammed. Superintendent of Prisons at the Maximum Security Prison, Mr. Jude Gordon. Ms. Debbie Jacob of the Wishing for Wings Foundation, our distinguished panel of judges, other specially invited guests, relatives of the clients who are involved in today's debate, inmates, members of staff, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to the semi-final round of the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service Inmates Interstation Debates 2019, an initiative that is being hosted jointly in partnership with the Wishing for Wings Foundation. The debate has gone through several rounds, and we are now into the semi-final round, and this round is being hosted here at the Maximum Security Prison, the home of the defending champions. And it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium at this time to give us some welcome remarks, the superintendent here at MSP, Mr. Jude Gordon. Let's welcome him as he comes.
Thanks. Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Jared Wilson. Deputy Commissioner of Prisons Programs, Mr. Shamsuddin Mohammed. Esteemed judges, family members, members of the media, prison officers, and most important, offenders. Good morning. I stand here this morning proud in that being the superintendent of the defending champions, Maximum Security Prison, and returning champions, I'll just put that in there, no biasness. I'm proud because of this venture of debating in prisons. And let me tell you why. The reason for prisons being in existence is because the art of debating is not taught. And what is debating? Having different views, being respectful to having different views, and being able to express different views. And I'm glad that based on the initiative of, I think it's Debbie Jacob, Ms. Debbie Jacob. Ms. Debbie Jacob. Could we put our hands together for Ms. Debbie Jacob and our organization? Because this is a serious initiative that needs to be outlined and taught. And it's a good tool in rehabilitation and reformation and restorative. And even to the outer society, the art of debating needs, and I repeat, needs to be highlighted, needs to be understood. Because a lot of people are in jail because they do not know how to debate respectfully. So I'm eager to hear what will happen. I'm seeing that the man has a formidable slate, but I'm telling you, every day I debate with these guys, and they are very persuasive. So thank you, people, for making yourself available to come here and enjoy that which you will see and hear. Thank you very much.
The Interstation Inmates Debates Competition is just one of the many initiatives that is being used by the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service to provide opportunities for our clients to grow and develop and achieve their true potential. And these initiatives generally are managed by what is called the Programs and Industry Department. And that department is headed up by a Deputy Commissioner of Prisons. And so it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium to bring us some greetings on behalf of the Programs and Industry Department, the Deputy Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Shamsuddin Mohammed. Let's welcome him, please.
Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Gerard Wilson, Superintendent of Prisons, MSP, Mr. Gordon, Wishing of Wings Foundation member, Ms. Debbie Jacob, our esteemed panel of judges, other invited guests, prison officers, and most of all, clients of the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service. Good morning, all. Martin Luther King once said, and I quote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." As we gather here today to listen to deliberation on topics that continue to amass a high level of national interest, and today's theme, do extrajudicial killings exist in Trinidad and Tobago? The prison service continues to encourage rehabilitation program that supports our mandate in promoting the successful rehabilitation of our clients for re-entry into society. As such, we continue to embark on rehabilitative measures which target the criminogenic needs of our clients. The introduction of the debate competition is one such initiative. We are presently embarking on the final stages of the debate competition. And throughout, we have seen keen participation by our clients as they engage in friendly rivalry and healthy competition. The debate competitions have promoted the cognitive and intellectual capacity of all participants, enabling them to have positive discussion on matters that affect us all. As I continue, I would like to thank our Commissioner, Mr. Wilson, and his executive for his steadfast support in making these interstation debates possible. To date, the debate competition has continued to spark widespread interest which extend beyond the prison walls. These competitions are one of several initiatives in our effort at reformation and rehabilitation of our charges. At this juncture, let me take time to convey special thanks to Ms. Debbie Jacob, a long-standing partner with us, the prison service, for her vision, her keen insight, and dedication in taking the debate competition forward. I would like to thank also the various stakeholders, concerned citizens, and corporate sponsors who continuously support us in all our rehabilitative efforts. I would also like to take this opportunity to wish all our competitors all the best in their quest for excellence. And please have respect for one another. No bullying, please, as we have seen in the past. I would expect a nice, clean, healthy competition. I thank you all.
Morning and thank you. Morning to the Deputy Commissioner of Prisons, Mr. Mohammed, Superintendent, Mr. Gordon. Of course, to the judges, specially invited guests, inmates gathered here, our clients, and of course, to the debating teams. Well, this morning only last night I made a decision to come this morning, so I didn't have a prepared speech or anything like that, and most times I would speak off the top of my head. One of the things, and this is something very, very serious, it's an important morning, yes, but it's a bit upsetting. And I saw Miss Jacob, Debbie Jacob, enter the hall, and one of the things she'll always do is greet me. She didn't greet me this morning because I guess she was upset with me too. But I understand that the judges were here waiting to be escorted in, and something unfortunate happened. And I'm wondering whether instead of debating all these nice things we debate, whether we should have a debate on the behavior of officers in their deportment and their commitment to duty. Because I've always said, and I'll take the opportunity to say this, you know, the press would have asked a lot of questions, the media would have asked a lot of questions. We have all these escapes, and I've said to officers, once we have escapes every Monday morning, the Commissioner of Prisons will be responsible. And I keep saying that a chain is as strong as its weakest link. So you can do everything possible as the leader of an organization, everything. But if officers don't rise to the occasion, we will be embarrassed continuously. And this morning is a classic example of being embarrassed. When Ms. Debbie Jacob, the person who we should be honoring this morning for her drive and continued commitment to this debate, will come in this morning very disturbed. All because officers refuse to rise to the occasion and be professional. I hope that one day we will get the message, because when one officer lapses, he embarrasses the entire organization. So let me apologize to the judges, Debbie Jacob. Let me apologize to you, ma'am, for what transpired this morning. And I can assure you that the superintendent sitting to your left will make sure that whoever is responsible will answer accordingly. I'm sure about that. Let me wish the debating teams a very successful morning. We can't have two winners, but I know I have seen the MSP team in action, but I also know the talent of the remand team. And this morning, this healthy debate will also expose the prison service to the talent that lies within, and the fact that if we continue to strive, continue to develop the clients that we have, it can only be done to the benefit of the entire society, Trinidad and Tobago. My continued plea to the public and to those out there, if we don't see the prison service, if we don't respect the clients that serve their sentences, those on remand, if we don't have a level of respect for them, we're going to get persons leaving the system more, or I should say, either the same or more bitter than they came in. We have a lot of work to do here. We continue to do it, and I thank all those who continue to support us as we strive to get excellence out of the persons who pass through our system. So I thank you for coming. I thank the judges again, and the debate team. I wish you all success. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson, for taking time out from your busy schedule, not only to bring remarks, but to be a part of today's activity here at the maximum security prison. You would have heard a lot about Ms. Debbie Jacob and the work that she has been doing through these debates, but Ms. Jacob has also partnered with the prison service on various other initiatives. As we get prepared to go into today's debate, I would like to invite her to the podium to give us an overview of how this initiative began and how we are going forward with this great project. Let's welcome Ms. Debbie Jacob.
I too didn't prepare any speech for today because I'm just excited about this debate and wanted to start as soon as possible. But quickly I would say what we see here that started as an initiative that Mr. Roberts had suggested to me for my CXC English class in Port of Spain prison has grown from a class exercise to an all-prison event. And in that time, this is the second year, so this is the second annual Interstation prison debates that we're holding. We have seen, because you, most of all, these two teams have proved that we are all equals. We came into the debates originally last year with expectations of certain prisons, with feelings that certain prisons are more intellectually inclined than other prisons, and you have taken those stereotypic images and you have shattered them. And I am so proud of you, remand team, and I am also proud of MSP, although they don't always think so because I'm very hard on them. And the reason I'm very hard on them is because they have, well, they were the #1 team last year, and they are always at the top, and it is always good to grow. Constructive criticism, all of the teams have learned from me, is important so that we keep being creative. So with that being said, have a great debate today. May the best team win. You are both admirable opponents. Thank you.
As we get ready to go into the debate, I would like to introduce the judges. So at this time, I'm going to do the introduction of the judges, and the judges have some very detailed and long bios, but I'll try to just do a bit of them. First, we have to your right and to my left, David Muhammad, who holds a double major bachelor's degree from the University of the West Indies in sociology and education, and is continuing his studies or his PhD research at the same institution. He also holds a teacher's diploma from the Valsine Teachers College, which is now referred to as the University of Trinidad and Tobago, and is a part-time lecturer at the Cipriani College of Labor and Cooperative Studies. He is the Trinidad and Eastern Caribbean's representative for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. David Mohammed has lectured extensively in several schools, libraries, community centers, and city halls across Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, North America, and the United Kingdom. He has appeared on television, radio, and newspaper features across the Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen, Judge number 1, Mr. David Mohammed. Next to Mr. Mohammed, we have Mr. Michael Lucien. He has been a protocol officer, event specialist, and public service assistant with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. He is a member of the Board of Directors of the Telecommunications Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Lucien is the dance director of the Malik Folk Performing Company, and he is an adjudicator for the NCC, NCBA, TUCO, and Sanfest. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Lucien. Next to him, we have Ms. Samantha Rattan, a former journalist and television news anchor. Samantha Jane Rattan is a URI graduate who was the winner of a national scholarship, and she possesses 4 degrees under her belt in the field of communications, gender and development, psychology, criminology, and criminal justice. For the past 2 years, her research work has been heavily invested in criminal psychology. Currently, she is working alongside the Trinidad and Tobago Prison Service on several projects aimed at improving the way criminality is understood and treated at all levels. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Samantha Rattan. Next to Ms. Rattan, we have Candice Fraser D'Souza. Petty Officer Candice Fraser D'Souza is a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. She enlisted in December of 1998 as part of the historical first batch of females to become members of the Coast Guard. She has worked at both the President's House and the Prime Minister's residence. She holds an associate degree in applied science management for the protective services from what is referred to as the Joint Services Staff College. Petty Officer Fraser D'Souza has participated in capacity building training in advanced drills and exercise with the U.S. Coast Guard. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Candice Fraser D'Souza. And next to her, we have Ms. Sandra Bashir, who is an event management consultant and trainer with over 40 years of industry experience. She has been part of the faculty of the Arthur Lockjack Global School of Business for the past 18 years. In addition, she provides various types of training at the University of Trinidad and Tobago and the Trinidad and Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute, as well as for both the public and private sectors. Ms. Bashir has also taught in several islands of the Caribbean. She is a holder of an MBA in Hospitality and Tourism, along with a number of other certifications. She is currently a doctoral candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Sandra Bashir. Next to Ms. Bashir, we have Prison Officer Tyrell Edwards, and he's going to be the timekeeper today. When you have 1 minute remaining in your presentation, he will indicate that by showing you the 1 minute sign, and similarly, he will do so when you have 30 seconds remaining. We encourage you to keep your eyes on the timekeeper, because as soon as he gives me that signal, I will step in and bring your presentation to an abrupt end. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have our judges, and at this time we're going to have the introduction of the teams for today's debate. The theme for today's debate is, does extrajudicial killings exist in Trinidad and Tobago? Does extrajudicial killings exist in Trinidad and Tobago? And the remanded prison is in support of the motion. The maximum security prison team is against the motion. At this time, I'm going to invite the remand team to introduce themselves.
Pleasant morning. My name is Leandro Guerra, and I'll be doing the opening for Remand Elites. A pleasant morning to all. My name is Jalan Robinson and I'll be asking the questions for Team Remand Elite.
Pleasant good morning. My name is David Khan and I'll be answering the questions for Team Remand Elite.
Pleasant good morning to all. My name is Adish Maraj and I'm the lead researcher for Remand Elites.
Pleasant good morning, everyone. I'm Terence Morris and I'll be doing the rebuttal for Remand Elite.
Greetings, pleasant good morning to one and all. My name is Marlon Lee and I will be doing the closing for Remand Elites.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Ramuta. I am the lead debater for today's debate and lead researcher for Team MSP. I thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kester Benjamin, and I have been mandated by my team to answer all questions posed by Team Affirmative today. Thank you.
Pleasant good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ishmael Khan. I'll be doing the cross-examination for Team MSP this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Prem Badri. I will be presenting a rebuttal for Team MSP this morning. Thank you.
Pleasant good morning, everyone. My name is Arnold Ramlogan, and I'll be doing the closing contention on behalf of Team MSP. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ako Patrick, and I am the co-researcher for Team MSP. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Team MSP. Now, the judging today will be done in two categories. We have the team category and we have the individual judging. For those of you who have become accustomed to these debates, you know that at the end of each debate we announce who are the top 10 debaters so far. The final 10 debaters will eventually comprise the prison team. For some other debates, last year we debated against the University of Trinidad and Tobago, as well as a debate against the prison staff. And in the team category, judging will take place in the following four categories: organization and clarity, use of argument, use of cross-examination and rebuttal, and presentation style. And each of those categories will, the points will be added up for a total out of 160 points. In the individual category, each debater will be judged in the following criteria: preparation, general knowledge, confidence, general impression, persuasiveness, for a total of 1 out of 100 points. And I want to encourage debaters that when you stand to speak, please reintroduce yourselves just with your name so that the judges can ascribe the scores to the relevant persons. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go into the actual debate now. And as I've said before, the team is those extrajudicial killings exist in Trinidad and Tobago. And the team that is in support of the motion, the remand prison, they will now present their opening arguments, and they would have 5 minutes to do so.
My name is Leandro Guerra, and I'm honored to open for Remand Elite. For me, no ideological or political convictions could justify the sacrifice of a human life. On commencing this debate in question, does extrajudicial killings exist in Trinidad and Tobago, my answer to such will be proceed as I embark and outline its transparent meaning. According to Human Rights, Amnesty International, and our very own Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce defines that extrajudicial killings is the executing of a person by government officials or individuals without any judicial proceedings or legal process. Such unlawful acts tends to target politicians, trade unionists, religious and social figures, and lastly, a dissident, who is defined as a person who opposes official policy, especially of a respected state. These killings are carried out by state authorities and armed forces such as the police or the army. Ladies and gentlemen, we are facing a significant reality in our country as it relates to this topic of debate that kills the integrity of the legislative arms that govern the said individuals who took an oath to serve with pride under the auspicious rule of the head of state. However, the United Nations Code and Conduct of Law Enforcement Officials, Article 2 states, in the line and performance of duty, all law enforcers shall and must with utmost utmost respect to uphold and maintain the self-worth of human rights. In relation to such school, the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Act Section 1, Article 3 states, everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Thus, it's within my observation, while there are those who poses enormous interest into the ongoing demise, it's evident that they are the very ones who give life to symptoms to create such problems. Allow me to take you back to a time when extrajudicial killings were used as a tool for curbing crime. During the period of 1978 to 1985, this country, Trinidad and Tobago, had a radical, notorious commissioner of police, namely Randolph Burrows, aka the Fox. And surely, ladies and gentlemen, this fox didn't eat grapes. Born from the brainchild, the then Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Williams of the sovereign nation, the Fox formed an elite team of police officers into his personal battalion called the Flying Squad, who later termed themselves the Death Squad. They virtually operated as a law unto themselves and answered to no one. And that, ladies and gentlemen, gives this topic of extrajudicial killings its moments of fear. For such squad manifested on a mantra that does not coincide with laws and protocols that would have governed their carrying out of their duties. Allow me to sing it out. Shoot first, ask questions later. But can a silent voice be heard? And this is what kindles the very compound of our problem, for there was never prompt and impartial investigation carried out. Hence, it stifles the very existence of this topic today. Nevertheless, in our present state, we are suffering from a dynamic case of deja vu when we would have heard the repeated words that haunts and taunts this nation, one shot, one kill. Just as in the past, we consider these people as heroes, but what we see, ladies and gentlemen, is just an illusion that impersonates and fabricates those that have walked before. Personally, we all know there is no right way to do wrong, but there are the wrong people in the right positions, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a nightmare on our streets. And now, we deem such behavior normal, as there every time there's an unlawful killing by state authorities, we would have heard it's crossfire or shootout. But surprisingly, it's only the citizens that end up the victim of circumstances. My question is, was star witness who was privy to the cocaine fiasco at the Piaco International Airport by the then Minister of National Security, Selwyn Richardson, under the NAR regime, just another statistic? WPC Bernadette James, who was the star witness and who was shot and killed due to circumstances at a training exercise at Tucker Valley, was one of the officers who stood by the oath she took as not to compromise and breach the said laws that govern her appointment. This, ladies and gentlemen, poses the very fact that lawbreakers are those who are within the confines of such laws. Thus, I conclude by asking, are we above the law? How many eggs must a hen lay to convince you, Team MSP, that she's a layer? I stand predominant to declare without fear that extrajudicial killings does exist in Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the opening argument by the remand team who is in support of today's motion. We would now have the opening argument by Team MSP, and they are against this motion. They will also have 5 minutes for their presentation.
I am Ryan Ramuta. Good day. All you wicked, they're too nasty. They killed my son. Johnny was a good boy. All these colloquial phrases we hear or read quite often from persons who have reasons to shun our protective services. The mass media, the radio, television, newspaper, internet, the informal grapevine, and even a fiction novel, Oh God, Don't Kill Mana, by Ishmael Samad, all perpetuate this fallacy in our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, what I am about to do today must be done in any instance where there seems to be ambiguity in the mind of the general public. This topic is a very controversial one, as any killing done by the protective services are continuously, incorrectly labeled as extrajudicial. This is a major misconception. However, I will now clarify to you the accurate meaning of an extrajudicial killing. According to the Encyclopedia of American Law, Volume 2, extrajudicial killings are killings sanctioned by the state and carried out by the state authorities without legal process. Please note that EKs often target political, trade union, dissident, religious, and social figures in society. There are many countries in the world where EKs exist, such as the Philippines and our very own neighbor, Venezuela. On Thursday, 19 September 2019, it was revealed in a special briefing by the Human Rights Watch in Venezuela that a special police unit is targeting and killing young men as President Nicolas Maduro seeks to clamp down on the opposition support. The forces are taking justice into their own hands and killing citizens whom they say have committed crimes without any evidence in what is deemed as a serious pattern of extrajudicial killings. What a relief that we are living in Trinidad and Tobago, where these state-sanctioned crimes does not exist. The Honorable Minister of National Security, Stuart Young, made it abundantly clear in a public statement on Friday, 26 July 2019, and I quote, "I know nothing of any extrajudicial killings whatsoever," end quote. I am usually behind the scenes in debates as researcher, as you all may know, but today I am called to the front line, just as my co-debater, Mr. Kemrad Sahade, who is in court today, has been called to the front line of the police service for the past 20 years. Recently, Mr. Sahade divulged to me that one night after work he went home and was greeted by his 7-year-old son, who hugged him and begged him, "Daddy, please stop being a policeman." Obviously, Sahade wanted to know what prompted this, and his son replied that the police were bad people for making people on the TV cry. Sahade had to reassure his own son that the police are the good guys. And you know what? I see this innocent misunderstanding in some people here today. But as I've said, Team MSP is here to clear this ambiguity. Ladies and gentlemen, when you do hear about a death at the hands of the protective services, our research has found it is certainly as a result of self-preservation, stopping a direct threat, and protecting the lives of you, our citizens. Our state and protective services indeed does not plot and plan to kill citizens of this country, there being an established judicial equality in the rule of law. So as the mighty sniper once sang, "Trinidad is my land, and of it I am proud and glad. But I can't understand why some people just talk it bad." Honorable adjudicators, audience, Team MSP is resolute that despite any attempts to provide hearsay and fabricated evidence by the opposition, in Trinidad and Tobago, extrajudicial killings does not exist. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to resume with today's debate. And before we go into the cross-examination segment, I would like to acknowledge Mr. Kehinde Bolaji, and he is the UN Peace and Development Advisor for the Caribbean. So we now go into the cross-examination segment, and we'll begin with the remanded prisoners to ask their questions. I'm going to ask both the person who's asking the questions for the remand and the person who's answering for Team MSP to introduce yourselves at this time.
Present, good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jalon Robinson.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kester Benjamin.
You may begin your question, sir.
Sir, are you aware that there are rumors of extrajudicial killings circulating in Trinidad and Tobago?
Thank you for that question, sir. As the question asker said, I am quite aware that there are rumors of extrajudicial killings.
But thank
not
you very
any
much, sir.
solid, concrete, I'm not finished yet, sir. Not any solid evidence that extrajudicial killing does exist.
Thank you very much. Now, if those claims are indeed untrue, then why hasn't the authorities publicized no sort of course of the internal investigation nor findings in order to clarify? I hope you are listening to me. Why hasn't the authorities publicized no sort of internal investigations or findings in order to clarify the disputed circumstances surrounding some of these fatal shootings that exist earlier than 2003?
Now, I will answer that question in this way. You don't chase, only a patong will chase after every car. No. If there are no extrajudicial killings existing in our country, how could you ask if the government cannot clarify that extrajudicial killings existed?
Sir, tell me this. Are you aware that an extrajudicial killing is a murder perpetrated by state actors or non-state vigilantes without sanction of judicial procedure or legal process?
Sir,
are you not aware of that?
I am answering your question, sir. I've just said there is no evidence, and I am aware that extrajudicial killing is a murder.
So did you understand my question, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
And where's the answer?
I just gave you the answer. I am not aware of that, sir.
Thank you very much. Tell me something. If extrajudicial killings does not exist in Trinidad and Tobago, then why are officers facing murder convictions for killings they carried out while in the line of duty?
No. There's a vast difference between an extrajudicial killing and an unlawful killing. Would you like the explanation, sir?
I just like an answer for my question, sir. Thank you very much.
Right. The reason why is these officers engage in unlawful killing. It is not extrajudicial. For it to be extrajudicial, the killing must be sanctioned by the state and carried out by state forces. And this is where you all have problems.
No, sir. If these officers did indeed act in the lines of legal realms, why are they facing murder convictions for executions they carried out in the line of duty?
Again, sir, I have already answered that question. And if you didn't hear the answer to that question, sir, is you cannot label those killings as extrajudicial because it lacked state sanction. For instance,
sir, thank you very much. Tell me something. If extrajudicial killings exist in the Philippines and other small countries, what makes Trinidad and Tobago so different that you believe it doesn't exist here?
Thank you very much for that question, because I will clear up that ambiguity. In the Philippines, the president of the Philippines sanctioned the killing of drug lords. And in Trinidad and Tobago, our prime minister, neither our president, does not sanction any killings of anyone unlawfully by the
Thank you very much. When you are finished, you will tell me which one of my questions did you answer in all of the speaking you just spoke?
Every single one of them.
Thank you very much.
That was a cross-examination. That was a cross-examination by the remand prison. We are getting ready to go into the cross-examination by Team MSP. And I want to remind members of the audience that you are not to express any sign of support during the presentations. Please wait until the segment has come to an end before you express any sort of support for those who are on the floor. Okay? So let's have the introduction of the cross-examiner for Team MSP and the person who's going to be answering the questions from Team Remand.
My name is Ishmael Khan. Thank you all for this opportunity.
Pleasant day again. My name is David Khan.
Good. Gentlemen, you have your 3 minutes now.
Sir, for the record, can you provide us with the international legal definition of the term extrajudicial killing?
I have it right here. An extrajudicial killing is any killing by any state, organization, or members of any state force, or even persons vigilantly supported by state actors.
Thank you. It seems you have omitted sanction by the state. Now, another thing you are having a misconception with. Can you give us a definition of the word exists from our topic?
Exist means to take place. It is present. It is there.
To be actual, which is definite or concrete.
Definite.
So we did not come here to deal with just mere possibilities. No, sir.
It's a definite fact.
Are you acquainted with the United Nations recent list of countries where extrajudicial killings presently exist?
I am aware of that.
Can you tell us if Trinidad and Tobago is on this list?
Trinidad and Tobago is on the list of countries suspected.
So they are not on this list where extrajudicial killings presently exist. Yes or no, sir?
That is why the United Nations has sent monitors to investigate.
Sir, you are not answering the question. Allow me to move on. Now, can you define for us what an unlawful killing is?
An unlawful killing involves the loss of life without the cover of law.
So, from the earlier definition of an extrajudicial killing, it is clear to see that these two are not the same. So if an officer on duty exercises the use of deadly force to neutralize a disproportionate threat, then this is an unlawful killing.
The police officer has...
Sir, is this an unlawful killing, sir?
It is also an extrajudicial one.
Sir, you need to revert to your law book, sir. It is an unlawful killing.
Could you allow me to answer your question, please, Mr. Khan?
Sir, you mentioned the flying squad in your contention. You said that Commissioner Burrows doesn't answer to no one. But wasn't he charged for murder and later acquitted of this?
He was acquitted of murder, yes, due to that our witnesses were found to be missing or afraid to come forward.
But how can you say that he does not answer when he was charged and later acquitted? That is wrong. Now, are you aware that the media in our country are the ones who presently labels killing done by the protective services as extrajudicial?
The media alone does not do that.
No.
Amnesty International did some of that.
Sir, again.
The IHCHR
Thank
did
you,
that.
sir. Again, according to Ishmael Samad, the media have misconstrued the true meaning of an extrajudicial killing. Are you conscious of this?
Are you quoting the same Ishmael Samad that...
Sir, are you conscious of this? Can you answer the question and we then move on to
Are you quoting the same Ishmael Samad who wrote the book,
It seems...
Oh God, don't kill me now, that
Sir,
was used in the
you are
open
straying from
contention,
the topic. You are not
that
answering the
listed
question.
22 persons that were
Thank
killed,
you, sir.
including
Thank
infamous
you.
Muruga tree.
Now, from all this data, these examples and definition, can one intelligently and honestly say that extrajudicial killings exist in our country?
When Glenn Ashby was hanged...
Sir, can one say yes or no? Yes or no, sir?
When Glenn Ashby was hanged, you can honestly say...
So it seems you are not
extrajudicial
intelligently
killings
answering,
took
sir.
place in Trinidad and Tobago under the cover of the state.
Thank you, sir.
Because the state hanged him while there was a document waiting.
Now, are you aware that in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a security council where the head is the Prime Minister?
I am aware of that.
Do you have any evidence to prove that the Prime Minister, together with this security council...
Time is up. You may have your seat. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the cross-examination by both teams. We'll have another 3-minute break as the teams prepare for their rebuttal segment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to resume today's debate. The theme, does extrajudicial killings exist in Trinidad and Tobago? You have heard the opening arguments and the cross-examination by both teams. We will now have the rebuttal segment where both teams will have 4 minutes to do their rebuttals. We'll begin with the affirmative rebuttal by the remanded team.
I am Terence Morris. Good day. Why is it so easy to believe lies in this tuxedo, but we are afraid to face truth in our nakedness? Ladies and gentlemen, extrajudicial killings are carried out on persons who are threat in bringing down governmental organization, an authoritative state, or someone who doesn't comply with official policies. The Director of Public Prosecution, along with the authorities of the courts, have both submitted reports that there is a wide threat of intimidation carried out by police officers, which poses the very reason and failures, why such cases are never brought to light. Team MSP, to cover extrajudicial killings with the tapping of fear is a very coward act that doesn't comply with the ongoing demise that manifests daily in our nation. There have been too many phantoms that plays a sensitive role in this topic today. As for yourself, we shall unmask them. Ladies and gentlemen, are you aware Trinidad and Tobago are listed 6th on the world chart for police killings? Team MSP, wasn't a case of police constable Myset Green, who was charged and convicted for the 1995 killing of Neil Sutherland of Matlock, a mere investigation? In 2013, 23-year-old Christopher Greaves of Beetham Gardens was shot multiple times in his back while running from police officers, but later died at Port of Spain General Hospital. In May of this year, an autopsy was done on 14-year-old Naomi Nelson, one of the persons killed in an alleged shootout between residents of Carenage and police. The report reveals she was shot once in the back of her head and the bullet exited the front. Team MSP, are you trying to tell us all 356 persons who were killed by police officers, including 43 this year, were all in the case of shootout? Certainly not. Ladies and gentlemen, witnesses are being silent because of the very police officers who returns to the communities, threatens and intimidates citizens, and by greater means creates a hotspot for media and social interests. For such, the Police Complaint Authority stated, and I quote, "There has been numerous amount of witnesses that has refuted the claims by police officers, which have forced the PCA to launch discreet investigation into such matters. Most autopsy reports often have credibility to the version of events given by eyewitnesses, but investigation into police killings in Trinidad and Tobago are protracted." The PCA also stated, "There are files being misplaced, no scientific evidence are being submitted, and officers are not being suspended," end quote. This makes me beg to ask two questions. Can the devil correct sin? Secondly, isn't it a conflict of interest to have police officers investigate themselves? Ladies and gentlemen, I stand in solidarity for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago whose lives was taken in the name of extrajudicial killings and whose voices are silent, but remand elites shall be the voices that will be heard not only for today, but for tomorrow. For integrity has the audacity to hide behind corruption. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the affirmative rebuttal by the remanded team. We will now hear the negative rebuttal from Team MSP.
I am Prem Badri. Good day. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposing team has stated a number of inaccurate points, several of which I will now refute. Firstly, the affirmative speaker stated that extrajudicial killings exist in our country, but he did not produce an iota of tangible evidence in support of this outrageous statement. In fact, our research has identified that in the last 10 years, there has been exactly 236 police killings, and not one of those killings was classified as an extrajudicial killing by the Director of Public Prosecution, the Police Complaints Authority, or any accredited international organization. Secondly, our opponents has erroneously categorized unlawful killings with extrajudicial killings, but he who alleges must prove, because an unlawful killing is any killing done with the use of excessive force, as opposed to any killing sanctioned by the state and carried out by the protective service without legal proceedings. Thirdly, our opponents have tried to use the misfortunes of unlawful incidents in Trinidad, and this is very unfortunate, because the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in his 2019 address to the Secretary General has given a following list of countries where extrajudicial killings exist: Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, Libya, Kenya, Argentina, Chile, USA, Bangladesh, the Philippines, the UK, India, Vietnam, and Venezuela. Adjudicators, Trinidad and Tobago is noticeably not on this list. They have mentioned Glenn Ashby, but in 1994, an independent panel concluded that he was not hanged extrajudicially. The president has signed the execution warrant and it was delivered by a court-martial. The fact that the presence of the judiciary was there has deemed this a miscarriage of justice and not an extrajudicial killing. With regards to Bernadette James, a special inquest concluded by Justice Melvin Baird found that she was close to a shooting range, and a stray bullet can hit anyone close to a shooting range. With regards to ex-police commissioner Randall Burrows, there is absolutely no evidence to prove that he have killed anyone extrajudicially with orders by the state. In fact, he was charged for conspiracy to murder 2 men, which he was allegedly given the orders. He was then acquitted. But the mere fact that you could charge a police commissioner shows that the state was in no secret collusion with him. This is a judicial equality that our contention spoke about. They spoke about 1 shot, 1 kill, but Mr. Gary Griffith himself has defended this, that stated that it was necessary given the attacks they face in our crime-infested society. He also stated that if anyone points or fires a firearm at his officers, have his full support to return fire to protect their lives and the lives of the citizens of this nation. Finally, in sticking with the theme at hand, the operative words in this topic sentence are does and exists, which begs the interpretation of occurring over a recent and present time only. So, ladies and gentlemen, does extrajudicial killings exist in our country? The greatest crime perpetrated against our country is the 1990 attempted coup, and the perpetrators for this crime is still alive today. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
You have heard the rebuttals by both teams, and in a few minutes' time, both teams will have their final opportunity to present their closing arguments to the judges. With the team, does extrajudicial killings exist in Trinidad and Tobago? And we will now have the closing argument by both teams. We'll begin with the closing argument from the remanded prison.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Marlon Lee. I am doing the closing for remand elites. Life is the most fundamental of recognized human rights, and once taken, can never be restored. The very core of this debate that distinguishes our society is that no one is above the law, from the highest office holder to the lowest disadvantaged person. The judiciary, being the only organ of the state and not the executive or the legislative, that enjoy exceptional powers. Every time a suspect, an individual or person of interest is being unlawfully killed by the executive branch of the law, the government creates a Frankenstein. For without due process of such law, the government itself becomes a lawbreaker, and such tarnishes the Constitution and poses a no-confidence view in the public that can be deemed provocative and destabilizing for our nation. Permit me to outline that in recent years, there has been circumstances pertaining to unlawful killing in Trinidad and Tobago. Hence, Amnesty International launched a very close monitor on these reports. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take you back. In 2004, the director and chairman of Police Complaint Authority, Mr. Davis West, in his statement to the PCA state, and I quote, "The biggest gang that operates in Trinidad and Tobago is within the police service," end quote. Thus, I would like to introduce to this debate Police Constable Alan Gilman, Regimental number 14098 of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, once attached to the Central Division, namely Chaguanas Police Station, who made statements, very important one, ladies and gentlemen, let's do not ignore it, on social media that went viral, and even a call to the PCA when he said, and I quote, "Trinidad and Tobago is at its worst. Corruption is the most aspect of things, especially within the police service, from the ranks of commissioners of police all the way down to police officers in the units to carry out extrajudicial killings as a plight to curb crime in this country. I am now living in Canada, frightened and fear for my life. because of my peers who threatened to kill me because of this knowledge I have of illegal things taking place within the police service. End quote. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not enough. I find you saying down to quiet. Let me take you down to Afet down Shagaramas at Pier 1 on February 24, 2004, where Kevin Cato, 18 years at that time, may he rest in peace, was shot and killed by Police Constable Dave Burnett because of a heated argument, cannot extra duties at such fair. What do the officer think? He was in charge while bringing in the sheaves? No, you was at a fair. You must get bounced. Alcohol was the order of the day. Outrageous me to get on bad and be disrespectful and you know how we trainees do. He shot and killed Kevin Cato and wounded Ryan Solomon, who is the lone survivor. But investigations concluded, transparently and candidly, caused the officer to be arrested, charged, and convicted. Team MSP, how do you relate to an ordeal as such when persons' family have to go through the pain and the agony and the tyranny and torment, knowing that their loved ones has lost their lives by those who they're entrusted? It is my perception that you are men scared to proclaim, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the new term for MSP, men scared to proclaim the truth in this debate by their feeble evidence appearing real. Nevertheless, let me say this to you. If you do not believe anything, let me bring this to you, ladies and gentlemen. For such was published in the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian in the year of 2010, that on the 9th of October, James Eastman, Asha Philbert, and a third party was heading west from a party when James, being a social interest, was colliding with a police in an unmarked vehicle called X-Trail, fired shots in the area, causing the vehicle to flip and go into an abandoned building. Investigation state, James and Asha died on the scene with bullet wounds to the upper part of the body. The third lone survivor was rushed to Eric Williams Medical Complex. Ladies and gentlemen, she was pregnant. Due to circumstances, she succumbed to her injury and couldn't have lived to tell the story. That young lady name was Onisha Victoria Lee. That was my daughter. One extrajudicial killing is one too many in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
That was the closing argument by the remanded team. We now have the closing argument by Team MSP.
Firstly, corruption is not extrajudicial killing. Secondly, any killing done by members of our protective services without state approval is not an extrajudicial killing. Ladies and gentlemen, to reiterate our contention, I ask this: why is there a misconception of extrajudicial killings in this country? Because extrajudicial killings are killings sanctioned by the state, executed by the armed forces that disregard the judicial process. Trinidadian criminal psychologist Dr. Rennie Cummings affirms that there is a misapprehension in understanding the huge difference between the use of deadly force and extrajudicial killings in Trinidad and Tobago. If you look at the history of our country, there has not been one state-sanctioned killing of any prominent figures in our society. Our question and answer segment solidified that the position of the opposition is categorically insidious, and our rebuttal pointedly discredited their weak arguments brought forward in this debate. We also indicated the stern culpability function of the DPP, the PCA, and such departments, all of which would have exposed extrajudicial killing had it existed in our country. We also provided a United Nations most recent list of where EKs exist, in which Trinidad and Tobago is absent from this list. According to the House of Representatives Hansen record of Friday the 1st of April 2005, the Honorable Minister Colm Imbert said, and I quote, "Trinidad and Tobago has no history of extrajudicial killing in the sense of how the term is known in the developed democratic world," end quote.
Perhaps, ladies and gentlemen, this assumption of the opposition could find its place in countries such as the Philippines, Venezuela, and such places where extrajudicial killings are a serious cause for concern, but not in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to say something that I regret very much. I am a living testimony of the dangers faced by the protective services. I have shot and killed a police officer, a man who is a father, while he was on duty in 1996. And upon reflection, I have to live with this every single day of my life. But I would bet anyone here today that if that police officer had killed me instead, the public would have cried that that police had killed a 20-year-old innocent boy. That was in 1996. Now it is 2019, where criminals no longer carry revolvers as I had that day, but arm themselves with high-tech, sophisticated weapons that have been used to kill people every single day in this country. Can you remember what was thrown at a police vehicle in the 2015 prison break? When one police officer was shot and killed and a prison officer was shot, it was a pineapple hand grenade. But let us all say that thank God it did not detonate. So to conclude, what the opposition has brought forward today is pure speculation and assumption that has no basis in reality in this country. They have also given no evidence to substantiate that the political directorate of our country gave any orders to kill people of any status. If there is no evidence of extrajudicial killings in our country, please, gentlemen, I ask kindly desist from saying so, because these allegations will do our country no good, considering that there has never been any concrete evidence to confirm such claims. Do remember that a criminal can also be dressed as a member of our protective services. So does extrajudicial killings really exist in our country? As one TV personality does always say, it is alleged, it is not a fact. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the case of Team MSP. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the closing arguments by both teams. They have had equal opportunity to present their cases to the judges. On today's debate, does extrajudicial killings exist in Trinidad and Tobago? The remand team was in support of the motion. The MSP team was against the motion. And in a short while, we should have the results, both individual and team results, from the judges. Before we go into the results, however, we're going to give the judges an opportunity to share their views via some brief remarks. And as usual, I saw that the ladies have passed the mic on to the gentlemen to start. So we begin with Mr. David Mohammed.
First of all, let me say that it was a privilege to have had the opportunity to be here today. Both sides did tremendously well, and I'm of the view that if these debates were broadcasted through national media on television, that the general public would not be able to differentiate whether they're in a prison or a university. The quality of thought has been excellent. And I am very, very impressed with both sides. Congratulations on all your research, your presentations. It was truly spectacular. I just have 3 remarks. And that is based on, I will clearly say, and I'm being straightforward, I think that the MSP side
had a much harder job. Now, I'm not saying who I thought won or lost, but MSP definitely had a much more difficult job. Because in my humble view, unlike many other debate topics, the average person in Trinidad and Tobago, and before I say that, I'll say I was at one particular debate where one of the debaters who did very well approached me afterwards and said, Mr. Mohammed, I believe ABC, contrary to what I said, XYZ. And he approached me on that because it was a matter concerning religion. I said, I understand. I think the average person in Trinidad and Tobago would say that yes, extrajudicial killings do exist. You had the opening of the 2014 law term where Father Clyde Harvey, in front of the President, the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice, Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Attorney General, openly said that there are an average of 35 extrajudicial killings a year. And the President, Prime Minister, Chief Justice, Attorney General, none of them challenged that because it's a general view. Also, the United Nations issued a report where they said 59% of the extrajudicial killings that occur in Trinidad and Tobago are unsolved, which means, again, it's a clear acknowledgement that they do exist, and that even if you stop the highest office holders in the courts, they would say, yes, they do exist. But the way that the arguments were put forth was so powerful and convincing, but to me not as persuasive, because I believe as well that many people, even though we would defend against the position, might even agree ourselves that extrajudicial killings do exist. And I just want to say one last thing, that there was one thing said that I considered almost offensive. And that is, in all my years, I have never, ever, ever heard anyone on any level refer to the death of Bernadette James as being hit by a stray bullet. Not even the state takes that position. And the other day, the Prime Minister was doing a walkabout in Carenage, and the son of Bernadette James approached him. It was on film, it was on a video that went viral. And this was after 14-year-old Naomi Nelson was shot in the head, as one of the debaters mentioned. And the son of Bernadette James, who is now 38 years old, living in the continued misery, approached the Prime Minister and explained to him, look, what just happened to this 14-year-old girl happened to my mother, Bernadette James. And of course the Prime Minister knew about it, and he asked Bernadette James's son asked the Prime Minister, please look into it, let's get some closure on it. The Prime Minister wouldn't have told him, well, your mother was hit by a stray bullet. I've never heard that before, but I heard it. I heard someone say it here today, and I thought it was not necessary to conjure up that pain of a family member and use it in the debate in a way where, even if it was a stray bullet, according to the position taken, it would still not have been an extrajudicial killing. So there was no merit in just that one issue at all. But that adds to the skill. And on both sides, there was a personal testimony as well that was tremendously powerful. And I really hope that we could expand the audience for this. What we heard today is of by far higher quality than more than half of the content that we have on television today. So I'm hoping that the audience could be broadened, that we could get these debates broadcasted, and that the public will know and understand, and maybe the governments can become more inspired to pump more resources into reform in the prison system. Congratulations so much once again. God bless.
Good afternoon, folks. I think you guys should give the debaters a hearty round of applause. Job well done. And I must iterate what he had mentioned about this being lost, because I came to a lot of the others that passed, and I had mentioned to him, it should be recorded so it can be aired, because in fact there's so much good material in this debate that the public at large should see what it is you guys in here, what you guys in here is doing. It is a fantastic job, and it's something you all should keep. Keep it. It's good. It's good to educate the public at large and yourself about what is taking place in here. Good. It's something I'm really, really passionate about. Again, gentlemen, my heart out to you guys. May the best team win. All the best.
Good day, everyone. So I'm very, very happy to be here again, seeing a lot of familiar faces. I've been a judge for quite some time, and I'm always impressed with your delivery on both sides to deliver exceedingly flawless monologues. I believe it's far above average. Your extensive vocabulary, your articulation, and your stage presence, they continue to be on par with sheer excellence, and you should be very, very proud of yourselves. Your potential is limitless. I'm yet again very, very reassured of this. Being at debates from the first year and now again in the second year, I've definitely seen that from then until now, you've had significant growth, and you've gone from your best to your absolute best, and I can only imagine that it will continue along that trajectory. Keep on shining, gentlemen. There are absolutely no losers here today. Both teams have succeeded tremendously at displaying a high level of intellect and sportsmanship. Good job.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Having been here from the preliminary stage, I was able to see both teams, and I must say I've seen a lot of growth in the presentations. MSP, Remand, great job, great job, great job. I sensed a little nervousness in Remand today. I do not know why. I really do not know why. You guys are excellent. You should not doubt yourselves. Don't ever do that. You guys are excellent. Practice makes permanent. That's my saying. I live by it, right? 21 years in the Coast Guard. Practice makes permanent, all right? MSP. MSP. Good job, guys.
Well, there isn't too much more that I can add, more than to say that I was quite impressed, because I love the quality of the debate. I love the way that both sides presented, even when there might have been a little disagreement in terms of clarity on one side. And you know, one of the speakers at the opening remarks says no bullying. We didn't have that at all today. We had a level of finesse, which is what I spoke to you all about, and I realize that you all are now mastering this tact, so that you can bring your point over. You're not getting vexed, you're not even getting annoyed, yeah? But you're just making sure that when you ask a question, if it's not replied to, that you make that point. I was quite impressed with Mr. Ram Logan's closing, only because of the fact of how he was able to pull all of the issues that he felt his team presented and brought that into his closing argument. Remand, for some reason, like my colleague said, I found a little nervousness with you all, and I couldn't understand why. Again, we know that we're coming into the finals and so, but you all have to understand that you have a quality of debate and you have something to say. So when you stand up, stand with conviction. Your opener was quite strong, and that is what I expected from all of you, but here and there I felt a little nervousness. Best of luck to both teams going forward.
We now go into the results, and first we give the individual results for today's debate. And in 10th position with 300, I'd like you to just stand so you can be recognized when your name is called. In 10th position with 392 points from the remanded prison, David Khan. In ninth position with 398 points from the remanded prison, Jaylon Robinson. In eighth position with 409 points from the remanded prison, Terrence Morris. In seventh position with 425 points, also from the remanded prison, Leandro Guerra. In sixth position with 428 points from the maximum security prison, Kester Benjamin. In the fifth position with 445 points from the MSP, Ishmael Khan. In fourth position with 448 points from MSP, Ryan Ramuta. In third position with 451 points from the remanded prison, Marlon Lee. And there has been a tie for first position, both individuals scoring 457 points, both from the maximum security prison, Arnold Ramlogan and Prem Badri. We will now announce the top 10 debaters overall up until this point, and in 10th position with 400 points from the women's prison, Josanne Allen. In 9th position with 424 points from the Port of Spain prison, Cornelius Laborde. In 8th position from the remanded prison, Leandro Guerra. In 7th position with 425 points. In 7th position, with 428 points from MSP, Kester Benjamin. In 6th position with 430 points from the women's prison, Shastri Jagru. In 5th position with 445 points from the maximum security prison, Ishmael Khan. In the 4th position with 448 points from the maximum security prison, Ryan Ramuta. In 3rd position with 451 points from the remanded prison, Marlon Lee. And tied for first with 457 points, Anal Ramlogan and Prem Badri. So those are the top 10 debaters so far. We now have the team results for today. And the judges scored one team, 140, 135, 120, 120, 120, for a total of 635 points. The other team, 130, 145, 150, 150, 150, for a total of 725 points. The winning team with 725 points, the maximum security prison. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have the results of today's debate.